Oh my goodness. Okay. I watched the first two episodes. I started reading the books, and then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go on this journey. I'm going to see this world through Julia and Marguerite's eyes because it's a lot. This is a very like same bloodthirsty genre, which you know that I love, but there's a lot more that the fans need to know. I feel like before they tune in, just
Yes.
based on the fact that there are like four different types of vampires.
Yeah.
When you were approaching these different hierarchies and the different types of vampires, was that a challenge? Was that exciting for you guys? Like, break it down for me, Julie. I know you've loved this series.
Oh my gosh. No, yeah. Huge fan of the book series way back in the day, prior to even Vampire Diaries being like a figment of anybody's imagination on television. And when we sat down to do this together, we were like, we're not going to be those hacky writers that has like the opening voiceover of like, there's these kinds of vampires. This is that. And we were so determined to introduce each thing as it appeared on screen and to let the audience sort of figure it out as they went along. And I don't know if you noticed, but there we were, like, when it airs, you will see the
little saga cell to help.
You will see the primer, as they say at the beginning. It just had to be there. It had to. There's this world build is so layered and there's so much detail. And to the author's credit in the books, like she really, really, really painted a picture of like such interesting different ways to approach the vampires.
Yeah.
But we needed to lay it out. So that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
I do want to know your process for this. Are you guys envisioning this as one season per book? Like Marguerite, like how were you guys approaching adapting such a beloved book franchise into a streaming show?
Well, as Julie says, it's true that we love the books very much, and they're such a huge world build, and it gives us this big sandbox to play in. And so what we've done is played with time, not time a little bit. But if you love something in book 6, you might see it in the first season. If you love something in book 2, it might be in season 5. We don't really know, but you will see everything that you love. Eventually, if we carry on, you'll see it all. It's just how we wanted to structure the story, kind of pulled some things up, and it also put a lot of things together. What was one of the great things about this is to put the royal palace in the same world as the school, and where everybody's in this little bubble in this dominion. And so it's like a pressure cooker. Everybody sees everything, and the stakes are just higher. So yeah, so as we adapted it, we really played up sort of the political intrigue, what's going on. There's going to be a new king or queen, we don't know. And it's a class system that's kind of fraying at the edges, and it's not dissimilar to what we're going through now, but it's a way to look at it through a different lens with vampires and Spain and castles and all of that, but it's still resonant. And I think people will kind of see something in that they recognize.
Definitely. This is, of course, a completely different universe from the Vampire Diaries, but I love that world, and I will follow you in any bloodthirsty world that you create for us. You do have a wide pool of incredibly talented actors at your disposal. Could we ever see one of your Vampire Diaries actors appear in Vampire Academy?
We actually made a very deliberate rule at the beginning of this season. We made the decision to not cross-pollinate in these first nascent years of Vampire Academy, so that we could really focus on creating a world that was completely unique, that nobody had ever seen before, without those relying on our familiar tricks, breaking ourselves out of our comfort zone as well. But as we've said, we also really love those people.
Yeah.
And so the idea of seeing a Michael Malarkey in our world one of these days would bring me great joy. So we'll get our footprint set in the cement first, make sure that our world is its own special, rare world, and then we'll have those conversations.
Fantastic. So I don't need to be on alert of seeing like a cameo of Nina just walking in the background.
No, not yet.
Not yet. You gave us so many swoon-worthy moments in your past series, hashtag Delana Rainkiss. How did you approach these new shipper couples, and how are you feeling? Because the Vampire Academy book fans love their ships.
Yes. I think the difference in the beginning here is that those romantic relationships are canon. Dimitri and Rose, Lissa and Christian, they are book canon. So we're not going to try to rewrite canon early on because that would be disrespectful to the source material. And so we just went all in on the romantic connection between these two couples. We had a lot of fun, with the who kisses who when does anybody get a little naked?
Exactly.
Where do these relationships go? At what point do you put conflict into those relationships? In a book, you don't always need that conflict. In a TV series, sometimes you do. What are their obstacles and the hurdles of them being together? We had to, of course, tighten up the age difference between Rose and Dimitri from the books to making television today.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun, and I gotta say, like, not having to juggle right off the bat, who will she choose dynamic is refreshing, but not to say that's not something that comes down the line in future.
I was gonna say, any thoughts on Adrian?
I mean, so many thoughts on Adrian.
We have many, many thoughts. Many thoughts.
Are we seeing Adrian this season?
I'll never tell.
Marguerite?
But we have many, many thoughts. Many thoughts.
we dream big of Adrian.
We do.
I tried. I love that you do get to dream big on this show. Talk to me about just kind of like the freeing aspect of being on Peacock on a streamer versus on the CW.
It is an extraordinary gift to be able to be on a streaming platform as opposed to broadcast network for these simple reasons. One, obviously, it's fun to swear. Who doesn't like to be able to write the way you speak in real life and not have to come up with like secret G-rated code words for, for swear words. The other is, frankly, for me, the absence of commercial breaks for anyone that can, is privileged enough to be able to watch it without the commercials, to keep the storytelling tight and taut and not have to every 6 minutes interrupt, for either a fast forward or a bathroom break. But fundamentally for me, the biggest difference is the freedom to keep what you want to keep in the episode, whether it be a beautiful shot, something aesthetic, something tonal, a performance, a small storyline, your favorite line of dialogue in a scene, because you have a flexible running time that in network TV, it's finite. And it doesn't matter what you love about your episode. If you still need to get a minute out, you still have to get a minute out. And I have cut so many beautiful things over the last 15 years of my life that made me so sad to lose. Not having to do that here has been the greatest blessing.
And I will say that the thing that I hate cutting out the most is air. Like when you have to lose a minute, you're just cutting out air, and what you're cutting out is our ability to respond and to like reach into it, to cry a little when I see a scene and I'm jumped into the next scene more quickly than I'd like to be. So it allows things to actually land. So I find myself being a more moved viewer because I can actually be in the scene with them.